Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I am so excited. In fact, my guest today has been on my podcast before, and we were just talking, and we're like, oh my gosh, we got to get this started because I just wanted to have her back on because she has so much more to share with you. And so I'm super thankful. My guest today is Monica Connolly. She is a certified holistic health coach, a master life coach, and a 2-time international best-selling author. She is trained in trauma-informed coaching and mindset transformation. She is the founder of Monica Connolly Coaching and is known as the Transformation Catalyst Coach. She helps high-achieving women who feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and disconnected to help them reclaim their health, identity, and purpose through nervous system healing, holistic wellness, and sustainable personal growth. In fact, after losing over 150 pounds and rebuilding her life throughout her own healing journey, Monica turned her transformation into a mission to help other women rise from survival into strength. She is the creator of the Rise and Thrive Blueprint, host of the Unshakable Belief podcast, and a professional speaker who helps women break free from the internal lies that keep them stuck. Monica believes transformation is not about becoming someone new. It is about healing what's been in the way so you can return to who you were created to be. Thank you, Monica, for being on here today.
Angelina, thank you. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
What I love is I have seen you. We have known each other probably about 3 or 4 years now. And I believe we first met in Dallas in, I want to say 2021 or 2022. And I have seen you grow so much, and I know that it hasn't been an easy journey. And so what I would love to for you to share with us is how you have, like even just the last year since you've been on my podcast, tell us what's been going on and how you have just changed so much and what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I just really, the last year, I decided to just really go all in for it and really worked to build my coaching business, get my podcast up and going. I wrote 2 anthologies in 2025, and I have a solo book coming out next week. I kept getting in rooms and finding community and continuing to serve the women that I come across. and just loving every bit of it.
I love that. So I love that what you like. There's two things that I love. I mean, I loved everything you said, but there's two things I want to pinpoint with you. Is one is getting into rooms. If and I think that that's so important. And when people say, "Oh, it must be nice to get into rooms," it's a sacrifice. It's not like it's not easy. You have transportation issues, all the things that come with it. But the thing that I always have to remind people is, are you worth it? You have to look in the mirror and say, "Are you worth it?" You can spend lots of money going out to eat, doing all the things, and it's not really growing you. And so I think getting in the rooms is important. And if you can't get into the physical room, there are so many virtual rooms. And I know that we have a virtual event you're hosting, and I'd love to talk about that in a minute. But I also want to talk about this book that is launching. So tell us a little bit about the book and when it comes out and how we can get it.
Yeah. So it actually dropped for pre-sale about 5 minutes before we jumped on this podcast. It is called The Lie is Loud. It will be released on February 10th. And it will be available on Amazon in a Kindle version to start with, and then it will be available in a paperback after that. But it's really about the quiet ways that women lose themselves while trying to hold everything together. So, women who look capable on the outside but feel really disconnected or exhausted or just unsure of who they are underneath all of the responsibility that they are carrying, really walks them through how over responsibility, survival patterns, and really silencing your own needs pulls you away from your identity, and how your body often starts speaking through symptoms like what we've been talking about when your voice doesn't feel safe to be heard. So it talks about my story, but it also has a lot of tools in it, reflections and journaling prompts that you can go through and do so that you can take steps actively while you're reading the book to start your own healing process.
I love that. I love that. I love when there's a good book that it weaves in stories, but it gives you the practical tools and it combines a workbook in there. Because how many times are you reading a book and you're like, "Oh, this is good. I need to highlight it," and you're trying to keep track of everything, and then you open up another notebook, and then everything gets lost because you got two things you got to carry. But I love that you incorporated not just the tools, but a place where somebody can write through and like follow through and getting the prompts. I think that's so important. I think that when we read and there's not prompts, it help we don't have really we're like, "Oh, I should reflect on this, but I really don't know how to reflect on it." And so the way that you tied everything together, I absolutely love. So thank you for that. And I know it wasn't easy to write this book. So tell us, what was the hardest part about writing the book?
You go to sit down and write a book, and it's kind of, okay, what am I going to write? That's the first thing you have to overcome. But then you start writing, and for me, I have huge gaps in my memory, and so it gave me permission to go back and remember some things, not always pleasant things, and work through healing on those things. So it's very cathartic. It's a healing process as you write a book about your story. And so that really, that over the course of writing that book really took me on another healing journey that I wasn't expecting. And you know, definitely was good, and I was able to take steps forward in healing that without writing it, I would not have been able to.
I think that's so important, and I love that you also did two is it called anthropology books? Um,
Yeah.
and I just actually did one. Just was a participated in one, and that hit bestseller too. And I think it was really fun. And even as I wrote, that particular chapter, it was a little like it was hard, to go and reflect, and then you like want to write so much. Then you get to writing, then you want to write so much more, and then you have a character limit, and you're like, oh, I got to take that out. And it's like, how do I choose what's the right thing so that you can speak to the people that you want your message to come across with? And so I think that's really important. And I love how you said that you had to go through another journey of healing. And what I love to tell people is when we're never healed, we're healing. We have so many layers, and we have so many things that we have maybe how do I say, suppressed or put, to just kind of get through things. And then when we really realize, like, oh wait, I didn't even remember that all of that stuff. And as you go through the memory, you're like, oh my gosh, that happened. And then you get like, you have this pain that gets attached to it, and you have to like, okay, how did I let this happen? Or why did this happen? And you have all of these questions that you ask yourself. And so it is like something that you need to like, I think is important, is everybody should go through some type of healing. And it's not just one and done. Okay, I went to talk to a therapist, I'm good. No, like it is constantly. And so I thank you for sharing that. So when this book comes out, you said the first part will be a Kindle version, and then we can buy that, and then eventually the paperback will come out.
Yeah, the paperback will be available on March 28th.
Okay, I love that. I love that. One of the things I also wanted you to talk about is the event that you're hosting later this month. So can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Absolutely. It is called Rise and Thrive Live. It's a 1 day virtual experience. It is free to attend. You just have to register. You will get a recording if you can't attend the event live. But it's for women who feel capable on the outside but disconnected on the inside. Um, Women who have spent years carrying their share of responsibility and are feeling the cost in their bodies, their energy, their sense of self, their identity. So during the event, there's going to be myself and there's going to be 6 other speakers. We're all going to be talking about different things that we feel are really, kind of a cumulative, holistic approach to helping women take steps forward in those areas that they struggle with. So we have women talking about, relationships and ending relationships and how to move forward from that. We're going to be talking about nervous system healing and identity work. We're going to be talking about money because so many of us have fears and things that we believe about money that, we as we go through our lives, we collect these lies that we either can continue believing or we can start to change and find out what our truth around that really is. And so, really being able to help women move through that. We're going to have someone who's going to talk really heavily about grief and loss and how to move forward and steps you can take to help yourself move forward after a really big episode of grief or loss in your life.
I think it's going to be amazing. I am truly honored that I will be able to speak on that event as well. And my topic is going to be something that I haven't talked about in any type of forum like this. My topic is your beginning is not your boundary, and so I think it's going to be really exciting to talk about it. And it's something that, as you go through, like we were talking about healing, I've been going through a lot of things. This last 2025 was probably one of my hardest years. And as we go through things, we're like, okay, we reflect on a lot of things. And as we're healing and going through things, it was like, I have another thing I haven't talked about. And I think that when we have our stories, like when we have things that happen to us, when we don't talk about it and we just keep suppressing it, we are doing a disservice. We went through this pain, and I'm not saying you have to share everything that has ever happened in your life, but when you feel like when you get that God wink or that God nudge saying you need to share this story, I think it's so important. And that's what I felt when I decided to write and I prayed on what my topic was going to be.
Yeah, I think, so many times I think that we go through life and we're presented with obstacles and we're put in situations and we we can take a lesson from every single one of those. We can take something away from that we've learned and we can use it for ourselves, but you can use it to help somebody else. And so, talking to other women who have gone through things that are similar to, what you've gone through or what I've gone through, and they can see, oh, like here's steps that she took. It gives them permission to start that healing and to start using their voice.
I love that. I love that. I wanted to hit on something too that you said. One of the things that you said a little bit earlier is your memory. Can you tell us a little bit about? You said you didn't have like you're really hard with sometimes with the memory. Do you mind reflecting on that a little bit and telling us about that?
So a lot of people who have lived through trauma or have some kind of, living in that survival mode, when you do that, your body is constantly, it's doing whatever it can to keep you alive. And those are the areas that it focuses on in your body. So it's not great at storing memories because that's not something that's keeping you alive. So when people are living in survival mode, high stress situations, things like that, a lot of them will find that they have gaps in their memory or I took pictures all the time. I was constantly taking pictures of things, and I know now it's like it was a way I could take a picture and then I could go back and remember it and remember the emotion that was around that picture. But there's things that my kids tell me, and I'm like, I have no memory of that whatsoever. And so as you heal that trauma and as your body comes out of survival mode and you start to get your nervous system regulated, things like that, a lot of people will see that their memory improves and they'll remember things that happened before that they just kind of, shuffled away and put away somewhere.
Yes, I think that I can understand that completely. And it's when we're in that fight or flight type of situation, our bodies are just like, how do I get through this? And like just our brain is like, how do I just get through this? And you're just going through the motions and you're not even really getting that chance to really like reflect and focus on what just happened or things like that. We were talking before we started recording, and there's been things like medical issues that I had and like surgery after surgery, and there was like stuff and I'm like, I don't even remember. And it's not until I look at maybe a journal or like pictures too. I was a person that always took pictures and I wrote everything in my calendar. I always had to have a calendar and write everything down. And I was like, oh, I totally forgot that this happened because I was just trying to get through, like trying to raise my children, get through work, provide, and do all the things. And it was like, I didn't even have a chance to really capture or stand still. And that's why I love what I do now is helping people get into that time management. How do you, pause? Is rest bad? No, it absolutely helps you. And so those are the things that I love teaching because it's like, don't go through the same things that I went through and struggled with because there's tools that you can use to help you. Feeling overwhelmed by endless to-do lists and constant distractions? You're not alone. Many professionals and entrepreneurs struggle with never-ending tasks that spill into personal time, difficulty prioritizing what's truly important, a lack of clear structure in their daily routines. Well, let me introduce you to your Unlock Your Time Potential program, an 8-week coaching program designed to help you reclaim your time and boost productivity. What you will gain is proven strategies to manage your day effectively, techniques to eliminate distractions and stay focused, tools to align your daily actions with your long-term goals. Ready to take control of your time? Join the waitlist today and be the first to know when enrollment opens. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your productivity and achieve your goals. Check out the link in the summary notes. And I love that you do so much with your coaching. So can you talk to us a little bit about the coaching that you do and how you help people?
Yeah, absolutely. I have my program is called Monica Connolly Coaching, but I have really two different areas of coaching that I do. So the most basic is a 6-week program that really kind of allows you to um, get stabilized. So it's not about pushing harder. It's really slowing down, regulating your nervous system, reconnecting with your body, stopping living in that survival mode. So we talk about things like exhaustion, inflammation, gut health, hormone issues, emotional eating, that constant feeling of like being turned on where you constantly have to be doing something. I find that so many women who are those high achievers and people pleasing, they can't turn off. They feel guilty when they sit, they feel guilty taking rest. They always have to be doing something. And that is a signal that like, hey, you definitely need to be taking that time. So we go through a 6-week program there. And then I have one-on-one coaching, and that is really identity level work. So it's where we're going to address deeper patterns like over responsibility, self abandonment, silencing your needs, losing your identity. And that's really geared to help you reclaim your voice, rebuild trust with yourself, reconnect with your purpose, and really kind of step into who you were created to be that just got pushed aside with life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I wanted to also touch, I mean, you have been through a lot, and one of the things that has been one of the biggest transformations that you've had recently was your 150-pound loss. And so, can you talk to us a little bit about how you did that and why you did that? Because I think that that's important for people to understand as well.
Yeah, I had a weight issue almost my entire life. Like I can remember as far back as like fifth grade, and they would make you go to school and get weighed in front of everybody, and it just accelerated from there. And I was in my doctor's office one day, and with no compassion or empathy whatsoever, he looked at me and he said, "If you don't make some serious changes, you're not going to survive much longer." And at that time, I weighed over 300 pounds. I actually don't know how much I weighed because I had stopped getting on the scale. And I had set a goal for myself every year. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Oh, it's so easy. All these people do it. Like, how come it doesn't work for me? And it wasn't until I got in my first room and got involved in community and saw what was possible for my life and started taking steps in that direction. So mine was really, I had to fix my mind. I had to fix how I thought about myself, how I saw myself, what I gave myself permission to do. It meant setting boundaries and making myself a priority and I had never done that. I had actually gone years without a haircut because I didn't want to take the time to go spend an hour to go get a haircut. And so, really starting to set those boundaries and starting to do things for myself and getting in communities that gave me belief in myself and let me borrow that belief until I had that belief on my own. That was huge, but I had to do that work on my mind and how I viewed myself before I could lose any weight. And once I started moving down that road and started seeing myself differently, within 2 years, the 150 pounds had come off within 2 years.
That's amazing. And I think that it's so important that you said that you weren't even didn't even want to take the time to get your own haircut because you didn't want to take time away from all the responsibilities that you had. And I think that that's important. So women, if you're out there listening, think about your self-care. And self-care can be as simple as, are you taking time just to brush your hair? Are you taking time to shower? All of these things. And the thing that's so important is that you have to love the person in the mirror. You have to love it. And if you can't love you, how do you expect others to love you as well? I think that I don't think, I know when I tell people and I teach people on time management, I say the first thing you do is you schedule that self care. When are you going to do your movement for your body? What time are you going to eat? Because as high performing women, a lot of times we just go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and we don't even take time to eat. And that is so bad for our bodies. Like, we need to eat. Or the first thing we do is we go for the coffee, which is super, super bad for your hormones and all the things, especially the older that we get. You should have at least 90 minutes after you've waken up before you have your first drop of coffee or a drink of coffee. And you should also have some protein in your belly first. And that's the things that we just don't think about because we're just like, we got to go here, we got to do this, we got to do that. And we have all of these expectations. And I always tell people, who put those expectations on you? Majority of the time, it's us putting them on ourselves because we feel like we have to do everything. Because if we don't do one thing and if we ask for help, then we're letting our loved ones down, or we're shown that we're weak, or things like that. And a lot of the times, it's just high expectations that we put on ourselves because we want to just do everything. And that's the thing that we just don't need to be doing. Like, we need to really look at what is the things that we can do and that we should do, like creating, like your podcast. You're the only one that can write your book. You're the only one that can put on your podcast. Like those are the things that you can do. And then what are the things that we can decide to do later? Like you don't need to worry about spring cleaning right now because we are in the middle of winter, right? So don't start thinking about, oh, I need to start getting my spring cleaning list together, right? And then the other thing is, what are the things that we just need to delete? Like maybe we're spending too much time binge watching on Netflix. And I'm not saying that like I love a good day where I just sit and I watch TV, but if I schedule that in. And if we're just constantly like in that buffer mode because we're like trying to like separate ourselves or decompartmentalize, or become disconnected and just veg out because there's so much other things that we have to do and we're so exhausted we don't want to do anything. Like really look at those things. And then the other thing is what are the things we can delegate? And so many of us are so scared to delegate. We're like, oh no, I got to be there. There are simple things. If you like, think about the things you can delegate. If you have a hard time trusting people, could you order your stuff like your groceries on Instacart? Or can you order your stuff like I have to go to Target and I didn't really feel like going to the store and going through all the aisles and stuff like that. So I just went and ordered my stuff. I'll go after the podcast, I'll go and pick it up. Like those are things that you can delegate. Have somebody else go and do those things. Which is funny. I actually got hit on I did a reel about going to the grocery store and like people called me lazy for doing that. I was like, you're not lazy. It's a service they provide. It's so that you can work on other things. And so those are the things I tell people, like, think about the things that you're doing and how can you slow down for yourself, because rest, like even Jesus rested. Once we rest, it helps our body heal. It helps us get like our energy level, like it helps us decrease our inflammation. There's so many things that rest helps us with. And for me, I don't know about you, but when I rest, I am able to create so much more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you don't need to ask permission to rest.
Mm-hmm.
You need to rest. Your body requires it. And by taking time to rest and by taking time to take care of yourself and place yourself as a priority, what you find is that you are a better employee, you're a better parent because you can be more present. You aren't disconnected and exhausted, and you can actually pay attention and focus on what you're doing instead of, hovering in 15 things. That hour and a half that you could have spent going grocery shopping instead of having somebody else do it for you, that's time that you could be spending building relationships, getting in community, doing things like that that are going to help raise you up and gives people permission to pour into you so that you can turn around and do the same thing for your friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It boosts your energy in such a way. And when we have energy, we are more people, we become magnetic, right? When we
Yeah.
have that high energy. But when we're like so exhausted from doing everything, nobody wants to be around us anyway. We're thinking like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do all those things. And you're so burnt out that nobody wants to be around you. So you're just doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it makes you difficult to be around, but it also has such a huge toll on your health, on your physical well-being. And I don't think that that's talked about very much. And I know that's something we've had conversations about, that when you constantly are living in that survival mode, that fight or flight, and you're constantly going, there are consequences to your body that will happen, and it may not be immediate. You may not see it right away, but 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, you may be told, hey, you have this going on, and it's probably been going on for a while. And it can be directly related to constantly being in that state of survival.
Yep, absolutely. Like we were talking earlier, like there's I just got some blood work done and there was something, and when I looked it up and I'm like going through all these things and it was like it's because of high stress. Like you have this particular issue because of being under high stress. And like it's a constant, and like if you're, so it's like, hey, it's luckily it's not too elevated, but it's like, ooh, that's something I need to really pay attention to. And so it's like, what are the things that I can do, like some grounding exercises, some breathing techniques. There's so many things out there. In fact, yesterday I read a book, and it was just like, I was like, I'm not going to read a self-help book, I'm not going to read anything, I'm going to read some, it's like, it was just an easy to read book. And I'm like, I just pulled something and I'm like, God, give me a book. And I just closed my eyes and I got, you and I have been to a lot of events, so we get a lot of books. And I'm like, just give me one book. And the book was so good. My husband's like, are you going to put that book down? I'm like, oh no, it's so good. I read it like all in one day and it just helped me. I felt so much better. And because I was reading the book, like, which it wasn't a self-help book. So I didn't have to write all these notes. It wasn't like, where I was constantly having to analyze or reflect, which is, there's a time for those books. I read it so fast and I read it so well. It was such a good read that when I was done, I was like, oh, okay, let's make dinner. My husband's like, you going to make dinner? And I'm like, yeah, I feel good because I don't normally make dinner because I do the working. He does the dinner. Like, it's just our system. But I was like, I feel good. Let's make dinner. And it was just because I gave myself permission. I gave myself permission. Nobody else has to give myself permission. I gave myself permission to sit down and read a book for 2 hours. And my energy level was so good because I just did that. And I was just like, I stopped. I wasn't on, the social media or looking at my phone or any of the comparison or any of those things. And I think that's what we need.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Once you start doing that regularly, you will notice such a big difference. And, going back to like the labs, like you were talking about, I get labs done every 3 months, and my doctor can look at my labs and be like, I see how you've been living the last 3 months. Let's talk about like, what's been going on and where do we need to focus, where do we need to be, cutting back a little bit. He can tell from my labs because they'll fluctuate, and so your body really does, like, it shows up in your body. And so taking that time to give your body permission to rest, to read a book that doesn't always you don't always have to be reading a self-help book. It's okay to, one night go, you know what, I just don't feel like doing anything, and binge watch your favorite show on Netflix. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
It's when you start making that an everyday habit.
Yes.
And that's really, I had to start setting boundaries like that and being like, okay, I'm not going to allow myself to binge watch Netflix for 6 hours every night because I can't get my podcast and my book and all of these other things done. So you just shift your energy from one thing to another, and you find those creative outlets that really start to drive passion in you, and and you want to do them. You'll find, at first it may be where you're like, oh, I know I said I would do this, but keeping your word with yourself is so important. It's how you learn how to trust yourself, and as you do it, pretty soon you'll be like, oh, I don't miss binge watching Netflix, or I don't miss doing this. This is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I love doing, and it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I absolutely love it. So one of the things I just wanted to tie up as we wrap up is, where can we buy your book again? Can you tell people again when it's coming out, what the name is, and what we need to look out for?
Yeah, absolutely. So the book is called The Lie Is Loud. It just dropped on pre-sale on Amazon. You can get it in the digital version on February 10th. It will, if you buy the pre-sale, it will immediately show up in your Kindle or whatever electronic device you use. Otherwise, you can purchase it on February 10th digitally. The paperback version will come out on March 28th.
I love that. And I think that you guys all need to get the book. I mean, buy it on the Kindle. One of the things I want to tell you guys too is, if you're like, oh, I don't have a Kindle, there is a thing called the Kindle app, and it is on all devices. You can just download the app and then you're able to read it, and it's like right then and there. So go ahead and do that. I'll make sure that I have the link as well in the show notes for that. And then can you just talk a little bit again about the Rise and Thrive Summit that's happening on February 21st?
Yeah, so February 21st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can register on my website. My social media has the links in it. My bio on social has it as well. You can also find it on Angelina's because she'll be speaking at the event. And, it's just going to be a day where you can come into the room. You don't have to show up in any way. I don't care if you come with your coffee mug and in your pajamas. just come and sit and be poured into by the 7 of us that are going to give you tools and things you can do immediately and walk away with to start making those shifts in your life.
Yes, come and join us. And if you can't make the live, it is also going to be recorded. So you got to just take the first step, and that first step is to register.
Yep.
And you don't have to turn your camera on. We are there. We're going to pour into you. And you never know. And if God is telling you right now, I need to register for that, that is telling you that you do need to. And then if there's the second thing that comes to you saying, oh, you don't have time, that's the devil. So remember that. The first thing is always from God. The second is always from the devil, who's going to try to deter you from it. So register for that event, buy her book. And Monica, one of the things I always ask my people, and you've done this before, so what is a word, a phrase, an action, something that my guests can do today, my listeners can do today in order to help them refine and shine?
Yeah. I think always remember that you were made for more, and don't ever be afraid to want more. It's okay. You taking those steps and in moving towards your dreams, it doesn't serve just you. So it feels really selfish when we start doing that, but it doesn't serve just you. It serves all the people around you and causes a ripple effect that goes out for generations. So remember that you were made for more, and go and search for those dreams and live them out to their fullest.
That's so important. And I love how you said that it's a ripple effect. So it is not selfish. If there is something that you want to do, something that you have been called to do, again, that is from God, and you need to go out there and do it. And it is not selfish. And as you make an impact on one person, that person is going to make an impact on the next person, and it's going to keep going and going. And before you know it, you're going to impact 1 million people. So do what you have on your heart to make changes to the world, to make the world a better place, because you were made for more. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Monica. And as always, I'll make sure that I have all the links in the show notes, so that everybody can register. They can buy the book. Can you say the name of the book one more time for me?
Yep, The Lie is Loud.
The Lie is Loud. And make sure that you register for the Rise and Thrive Summit 2026. It is going to be on February 21st. Remember, The Lie Out Loud comes out on February 10th, but you can buy it right now on Amazon as a pre-sale version. And so go out there and support her, and then buy the physical copy on March 28th. So thank you, Monica, for being on here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.